because I
Okay.
didn't realize it does that. Okay, I'm almost back. YouTube is setting up.
Yeah, I've seen you eating on here before
Yeah, yeah,
on the
yeah.
Wee Wednesday. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I think we are live now on YouTube. Welcome, welcome. This is Robert Bolden, Life Transformed, We Wednesday. Dr. Allison Ashley has joined me today. We may have some more folks join us as we go. So, if you're new to We Wednesday, the whole theme of this is we are in this together. So, why not share? Why not share? Little story. I was at the dentist today, got tooth finally, so I've got all my teeth in now. It's a whole nother story. There's a whole story behind it. But as I was leaving, they have two people in the reception area, you know, that work there. So I just asked the one lady, I'm like, all right, what if you could share one piece of wisdom with, you can only share one piece of wisdom with people younger than you, what would it be? And she's like, oh. And then there's a younger gal sitting uh, aside, near her. So I asked her too. And then, of course, they asked me. But you should have just seen their faces light up because they were like, thank you for doing that. That really makes such a difference. And I said, yeah, because that's what we're all created to do. We're all created to help each other, be in community, and to share wisdom that we have. And you could tell that, you're in a job like that where you're just checking people out, checking people in, checking their insurance. That's all you're doing all day. And they were just blown away and they were just like wanting to keep talking. And I'm like, well, I gotta go. See ya, you know. But it's things like that that I think that's what We Wednesday is all about too, is, I'll jump on here and share something that was like, wow, to me. And it's the heart of sharing what new awareness that we all get with other people. And you can just sharpen each other and lift each other up. And I love it because I can learn more than I can if I'm just waiting for my own aha moments. When Allison shares something or Dan or Tim, I get something out of it. So it's just powerful to think of it that way. So that's what we're all about. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like us, do all the things, share it. So let's jump right in today. So my aha, it was just like, ooh, I've been reading this devotion. I was going through Proverbs, and Proverbs is so rich. I mean, there is just so much. You could just spend weeks and weeks in Proverbs, I do believe. So this was Proverbs 14. And the perspective of this author was science can seem like the enemy of faith sometimes. So this person had studied science and been in science for most of their, you know, college and post college work. But then they said, but for me, because I knew God in essence, I just looked at it with wonder of what the Lord did when he created this earth. And they made the point everything in science changes as we make new discoveries. So we may think, oh, this is what happened. We're like, well, we learned something new. It isn't exactly what happened. So that's science. Science is not exact. You always hear exact science. No, it's not exact. There's always going to be a new discovery that's going to be like, wow, we thought we knew, but we really don't know. Can you see God in there somewhere? And also, science, there are so many things science can't explain. You pin science in the corner. If science was a person, you say, all right, there's so many things science can't explain. And that's because it's God. I mean, it's so beautiful and so wonderful. So it just took my breath away reading this devotion and thinking about that. How amazing God is that we've got people that spend their whole lives studying and trying to figure out all this stuff. And they're constantly amazed and coming up with new things. but they believe there's got to be a logical explanation to it. So they keep going hard and going hard.
Mhm.
But it's the wonder of God. I mean, it's just like, it just shows how way beyond anything that we can fathom that God is. And then they said, our soul is linked to our body. What we think about, dwell on, and speak about can have a profound effect on the physical reality we find ourselves in. Wow. I mean, yes, I believe all of that, and I've come at it from so many different angles, but to see it all succinctly spelled out in one sentence
Mm.
was really just amazing. Soul is linked to our body. What we think about, dwell on, and speak about can have a profound effect on the physical reality we find ourselves in. And just think about that, the physical reality we find ourselves in. Whoo, that's mind blowing right there. That's a glass of wine discussion right there.
Yeah.
Whoa. So, um, and then just a couple of verses from that as well. Like I said, there's if you really want to delve into it, get into Proverbs 14, spend a half hour, 40 minutes, an hour in there. Verse 30 was a heart at peace gives life to the body, but envy rots the bones.
Mm.
So I'm just gonna
Mm.
stop that. I mean, so if your heart isn't at peace, okay, I always look at these things personally and say, oh my gosh, if my heart isn't at peace, I'm not giving life to the body. I'm not giving life to my body. So it's always a litmus test for me. Oh, is my heart at peace? Am I frustrated about something? Am I whatever? Well, I'm screwing up my body. I'm not giving life to my body. And the opposite of that, right? Envy rots the bones. It just blows your mind. And these are absolutes. These are not wishy-washy, what you see in Proverbs. And my discovery, a couple of weeks ago was that because I'd be frustrated, be like, you say you follow Jesus, but it says in the Bible, don't be anxious, but you're anxious. What are you doing? And then I just got a revelation. It's more like, listen, yes, it says in the Bible, don't be anxious. And if you are anxious, you are disobeying God. I mean, you're disobeying God if you're being anxious in a moment. However, you know, it's just we're all on a personal journey. We're
Mm.
all on a personal journey. And yeah, I have compassion for people who are anxious. And I want to say, but it says, don't be anxious. And it's against God and all that. But all I know is I know the power of what Proverbs, what Jesus taught, all that stuff. The power of it is so mind blowing that if it says don't be anxious, I'm gonna go, okay. I'm gonna choose not to be anxious. And I'm gonna go down that road. I'm just gonna go down that road. And you know what? Life becomes more peaceful, more joyful, all of those things. So I could go on and on, but I have Allison here and I want to see what your reactions are to
I'm just
what I
loving it. I'm loving what you're saying, and I'm going to dive into Proverbs 14. That there's so many things that I could like dive into as far as what you said, Robert. The first thing, of course, is what you said. I love it about what we think about, dwell on, speak about has a profound effect on our physical reality that we find ourselves in, right? So what we know about science, what we know about neuroscience and neuroplasticity would be true to that, okay? Because we know that what we think about comes about, and what we focus on expands. So, what we choose to give our attention to, we can make up a whole lot of stuff in our heads, right? And by the time we're finished talking to ourselves about a particular situation and the motivation of somebody else, maybe, oh gosh, we've got it all figured out. And that could be the farthest thing from the truth, right?
Mhm.
But how many times do we do that, or do people do that? And then it causes problems for us in relationships, uh, all kinds of problems when we try to make stuff up instead of going to someone and trying to get the truth of the situation. That takes vulnerability, that takes risk, and it takes a secure attachment style. So going into that, you're saying be anxious for nothing, right? For this is the will of God in your life. And yet, depending on what happened in our childhoods, some people may tend to be more anxious in the way that they look at things, the relationship we had with ourselves, the relationship that we develop with other people, our expectations, based on those fears, those things we didn't get, needs we didn't get met, if somebody, our parents maybe weren't responsive to us. So based on whatever that is, it can be harder. We all have a little bit of that. The beauty of it is that we can choose. Yes. And it's not like, oh, I'm just going to choose and automatically it's going to be fixed. We have to do our part too, right? And you and I are both trained in modalities that we think are God's, gifts in a way for us to be able to use in order to use what we understand about science, neuroscience, to do that. And the beautiful thing is this: when I was listening to you about science, it made me think his name, his name is written on our DNA. Yod Hey Wad Hey, the Hebrew Yod Hey Wad Hey, that is literally written on our DNA. So when we understand that we can shift into his mindset, be reminded of who we are and remember who we are. That's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing.
It's freedom, isn't it, Allison?
Yes, yes.
Freedom. There is nothing that can hold you down in this world. Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing. Not
Yeah.
any of that. That's what's so beautiful about it is, and you know what? That kind of, you think about it, and that's like hope and faith. That's what it is.
Mhm.
If you understand the wonder of God and you believe what Jesus did on the cross for us, that's really all you need to go forward and know that anything can be overcome because everything has been overcome. Right? So
Yeah.
people who are woe is me, and I love you, woe is me people. I do. I love you. Love, 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 love. But here's the thing: you can't stay there. Can't stay there. If you're in my sphere of influence and impact, I won't let you stay there. If you dig in your heels and you want to stay there, I'll be like, well, bye bye, because it's available to you, and that's what we're called to do. That's what this YouTube live is all about. We're called to speak this truth out into the world because of how it's impacted us. It's totally transformed my life, to a life of joy and peace every day, no matter the circumstance. I did a quick Instagram on this yesterday because I knew I was going to talk about it today, and I couldn't go into all that on Instagram. But it's like life is like this.
Mhm.
And when you are following Jesus and God, you're just like this. No matter the circumstances, the situations, you're just peaceful, you're grateful, you're just joyful. You can be joyful. You can be standing next to somebody and watch the same thing and they're freaking out and going ballistic and you're full of joy. And it's the same thing you're witnessing. It's the reality that they talked about, your physical reality. back to what Allison talked about, what you're thinking about, what you're dwelling on, all this stuff. So you have a choice, like she said too. So why not choose the peace joyful road versus the circumstance? I'm a victim. I'm being a little harsh here, but you know what I mean. You got a choice. You got a choice every single minute of every single day. And the cool part is it becomes a habit. That's another way you can change your subconscious is just by a habit, just by
Yes.
doing it every day, every day, every day, every minute, every minute. You're gonna screw up, you're gonna mess up, fine. The next minute, you just do it every day, every day, every day, every day. It's a recipe.
Repetition,
Yes.
right? Repetition, we know from neuroscience studies that repetition combined with emotion, so combine the both, repetition and emotion or feeling is going to change a habit, either for the good or for the bad. So
Mhm.
we don't want to repeat negative things, and we don't want to have a repetitive emotional connection with someone who is feeding negativity into our life either.
Whoa,
Allowing that is going
whoa.
to impact us, just like we're going to have an impact on other people. So we are responsible for how we show up.
Oh, that's so good. You know that changed my life when I read Robert Kiyosaki's book years and years and years ago.
Yeah.
Simply said, take a look at the 5 people that you spend the most time with in your life. And if you don't like what you see, you better get
Yes.
rid of them because
Yeah.
that is you. And I was like, oh, you talk about a slap in the face, a double slap in the face. That is so powerful. And it because it gets into your heart. What they're saying gets into your heart, and then your heart becomes how you act and talk, and you start physically looking like them. And it's just crazy, all the stuff around there. So
Right.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. So true.
Awesome stuff. So I see we've kind of extended a little bit over. Sorry
I just
about
want to say, Robert, I'm glad you're one of the 5 people in my life.
yay, you
Yay.
too. That and look it, if y'all want some of this kind of community, we're we're actively asking you jump. We've got something called a serve call. We've got a path to freedom call. I know you don't know what these mean, but just ask one of us about our community. We are not trying to get you to join our community. That's not our thing. Our thing is, we know the power of community and how it's going to benefit anybody that's in community. So even if it isn't our community, get into a community of people who are for you, don't judge you, are in harmony with you. That's what the foundation of our community is all about. And it resonates across whether you're a Jesus follower or not, whether you're in Afghanistan or Budapest or wherever the heck you are, it doesn't matter. We're all like united, and that's what we're going to be doing is building this community. And we need your power, we need your gifts, we need your treasures in here, because the more people join our community, the more people that will be able to relate to our community, and the more power we can all walk in, and we can all have a life of joy and peace no matter the circumstance. All right, anything
Amen.
else before you go?
No, I agree with that.
All right,
Amen.
awesome. All right, y'all, join us every Wednesday at about this time, 12:45 Eastern, YouTube live. WeWednesday. Check out our podcast. We got all kinds of stuff. So just find us, interact with us. Don't be just like a viewer and just view, view, view. Interact. Come on now. You can do that.
Yes, we're open and approachable.
Yes. Get out of isolation.